Hi everyone. I just had an interesting start. Right before coming live, my whole power just went out with probably about maybe like 7 minutes to go. So, anyway, luckily I've got power back up, but fingers crossed. I know this is a very important topic, and sometimes there will be negative interference and things like that when we are about to share important information. So, I just want to start by reminding you guys that we also have the competition that's still running. So this has a couple more days left. So if you guys want to jump on social media, and you'll see this is the Soul Alchemy one, so still new and growing. Or you can comment on my personal one, but you'll see this little one with the teapot just here. So on this post, if you like, subscribe, and tag 3 friends, then you have the chance to win all 6 of the potion blends and a reading with me. So I'm really looking forward to giving that prize away. I can't wait to see who also gets the reading. So that's going to be really good. And I just want to remind you guys that my Soul Alchemy Potions YouTube channel is also building. So we're at lucky magical number 33 today. So hopefully next week we see a few more subscribers and we'll just gently keep building it up. But yeah, so if you haven't already ordered your potions, you can get them from soulalchemypotions.com. This one up the top I just realized I think my screen share is not working. Hold on a sec, guys. It's been a morning of tech. So anyway, going back to the Instagram, you'll find it under Soul Alchemy Potions. This is the I Am That Witch potion. You'll see here the affirmations that are on each tea. So these are the actual colors of the tea too. So you'll see here, this is, there's beautiful ingredients as well. All of these are recipes that I've made and really poured like a lot of love and intention into. You'll see here, this is the actual color of the tea. So this is a Vision Quest one. There is a secret with this one. If you do a couple of drops of lemon just in that blue, it will actually turn it into a purple potion right before you go to bed or before doing a vision quest or meditation. It's a really amazing one. And what window didn't come up for would have been the Soul Alchemy Potions YouTube channel. So you guys will find I've got some interesting guests coming up. There's also some lovely guests that I've had on last week as well. One to look out for coming up is accessing transformational RRT healing. So this will be with John Connolly. So we know this as rapid resolution therapy. He also, it's sort of born in practices of hypnotherapy and things. So I think you guys are going to absolutely love this show. I can't wait to share him with you guys. I've had RRT sessions myself, and I find it incredibly helpful to quantum jump. I still have bookings available as well. So if you guys are looking for a little bit of extra help, please know that you can reach out. Go to soulreader.com, and I can see lovely family here in the chat. Hi, John, Shauna, Alestial, Patrick, Rainbow Sun. So lovely chatting with you the other day. And Jody B, Amy, gosh, oh, and Tim, hey. We've got lots of family in the chat today. So this is a really important topic, not just to have in terms of like attracting love. And I'll start with my little love quote. This is one of my favorite quotes. So love one another, but make not a bond of love. Let it rather be a moving sea between the shores of your souls. Fill each cup, but drink not from one cup. So I actually really love this. It was one of my parents' vows as well. It's from the Cahill Gilbrum, or from him, so a poet. And I just think it's so beautiful that, you know, when we come into a relationship, that we have our cup filled already, that we're not expecting someone else to come in and fill our cup. So I think this is just such an important thing. And I think if we're bringing also, you know, this full cup already, then the other person's bringing the full cup. We're forever going to have this, this overflow effect. And I think that's just so beautiful. So thank you guys for joining me. Let me just see if I can switch this a little bit lower, because sometimes our comments, oh, there we go. Now we can see. So I did pick some cards as well. We're going to get into, I've written out like a few points today that I want to make sure that we cover. So the first card that we have to get into this is from the Rumi Oracle, and this is by Alana Fairchild. And the card that we got for what Spirit really wanted us to talk about was the card of the One. So with this, we're coming back to that oneness, that source, and thinking about connecting in with our higher self. So this is all sort of setting up foundational energy with love as well. So I've highlighted, I have to abolish duality from myself. I have seen the two worlds as one. One I seek, one I know, one I see, and one I call. The other part that I highlighted as well was don't hold back from that which feels incomplete out of anxiety or distress. It is just the lover that will soon be joined by the beloved. You are recognizing the moment before this occurs, so fret not and instead let the inner love loose. Allow her to shake out her hair, put on her most sensuous perfume, laugh as she dances barefoot in the fields of lush grass and fragrant flowers. Let her tempt beloved to come close, because she can be seen, she can be heard, she can move. She sends her scent through the air. She entices the yearning beloved to her. And soon enough they meet. And so I'm just getting goosebumps as I read this. So she will be yearning beloved to her. And soon enough they meet and becomes possible for yet again two to become one. And then there will be the wild and ecstatic contentment within you. So it's sort of knowing that that you were already sort of in that moment right before meeting that person. So I just thought that was a beautiful card, because if we are intention setting, releasing out that feeling of already having it. And I know you guys have heard me talk about on other shows that before meeting my partner, I was taking myself out on dates. I was dressing up for me or putting, beautiful, luxurious essential oils or perfumes on for myself. And this is, it's part of ritual. And this is what I really want to bring back as part of our Soul Alchemy Potions community too, is doing these rituals to not only set like an energy or like a magnetism, but to have that focus, concentrated intention. Yeah, it's beautiful, isn't it? So I also use the passion oil when I'm working on like self-love. It's not just about having passion for an outward person, as we were reading in that Rumi oracle. The other cards that, it's so lovely to see you here with us. Thank you. So the other cards that we got, this one from the relationship oracle. So this is the sacred geometry of relationships. And here is the author on the back. So you can see a little bit. I'm just looking for her name. Lon. So lonart.com. And the card that we got was the root chakra, or the first chakra. So I'll just read to you what this says. So this is all what Spirit really wants us to understand and get, is that we have to have this root chakra energy balance. So the energy of the root chakra supports your sense of safety in the physical world and reminds you to enjoy your physical body. So reading that card, what I sort of took from that was it's all about, maybe doing a little bit of mirror work. So looking into that mirror, or, closing your eyes and really feeling into your body, pointing out maybe 5 things that you can find that are really good. Now, if this is not something aesthetic, it might be your beautiful heart. It could be your kind spirit. It could be your strong legs that carry you through life. It could be your sense of grounding, or it could be your sense of, imagination and ability to have your head in the clouds. But it's really important to have that gratitude for self as part of a practice of self-worth going forth. The other one that we also have too, and I think we've also got Emma in the chat. Thank you for joining us. So we also have the mystique of Magdalene. So we've got Mary Magdalene energy. I just really felt she was a beautiful deck to pull from when we're talking about self-love, and we're talking about, topping this up to attract a greater love. And look at this. As the final card, we have the anointing. And with this, there's a very long explanation with some of these books, but just to sort of recap, the little heading, it says, infuse spirit into matter through ceremony. When done with conscious intent, ritual is powerful, and you become the priest or priestess, invoking the divine. So this is, you guys know why, ritual is so important for me, especially like with manifestation. What that ritual was in that card, it was talking about, I think there was an alabaster container, And Mary Magdalene took the oil from that and anointed it with Jesus or Yeshua, and he was never again the same. It was like it called him in activation as this divine partner and as this person that was to, to really lift up and drive humanity in a certain direction, as we know. So my ritual that I have for today with talking to you guys around this, I felt like Heal a Broken Heart was perfect because it really is this inward intention and focus upon self. It's really where we're looking to top up or call back all of the parts of our soul that we may have felt frayed or broken or perhaps like repressed, that need other parts of us to have that love. So you can see here the beautiful color. And with the ingredients with this one, it's rose, hibiscus, elderflower, jasmine, and cacao nibs. Now I put this in, and one of my gorgeous friends also helped with the idea of infusing with this beautiful cacao, very special person. So with this, it's all about really feeling into this nourishment for self. So the affirmation that's on the pack is, I am grateful for my strong heart and resilient spirit. So with this, what you would do is actually close your eyes, set your intention, perhaps even call back all of these parts of yourself. Think about what it is that you're grateful for as part of your own heart, your own spirit. And you can see yourself glowing and living in sort of a future form, but you want to bring it into the now as well. And so you would set your intention and drinking this as though you're already in that space or that state of mind for what it is that you're working towards, and feel like that version of self, just like it said in the Rumi deck, where, we can smell the perfume of our beloved. So this would be more to focus on self. So really seeing yourself in that ideal physical form, seeing yourself, being that kind of magnetic attractor as well. So other things and tools to work on. Thank you, Celestial. Yeah, it definitely is. It's very, very divine. It's got more of a floral type hint with it, but with that nourishment with the chocolate and the jasmine, which jasmine connects us to higher self, to source, the universe, and God, same as rose. So these ones actually take us to those heavenly realms. So this is actually one of my friend's favorites because it smells like perfume. And you can mix a little bit of honey or maple syrup or, whatever you want if you want to sweeten things too, or you have it as an iced tea. That one is a really nice iced tea. So crystals for attracting self-love. I do love pink amethyst. So I've got two little geodes here. They're not from the same one, as you can tell. But yeah, pink amethyst, because not only does it work with self-love, it connects us to higher spirituality. And it really kind of points out things that we need to work on. So rose quartz being another one really important for self-love. So what we'll have a look at, I'm just going to go through point by point. And we did speak about last week. I might just grab this. I've got a few cords tangled around near my feet with the power going out. I've had to make up a new little rig system. So for those that watched Healing the Abundance Wounds as well, that we did last week, if you missed that one, I highly recommend going back, because not only is it important around healing issues around money or abundance, it also lets you know other areas of life where you're not open to receiving, or you're perhaps trying to control things, and that actually will build a little down wall. So you guys would have seen me talk about this little exercise that you can do. I've just titled it New Self, and I've written Old Self and New Self. So you want to look into different areas. You want to look into what your belief system is, your self-concept. And then you also want to write out the equal opposite. And what this is doing is just looking at what would be this little rock or boulder in between that's kind of blocking us from having, being at one point and getting to this other point. So what I've written here, I've written one around relationships as an example. So we can see here, one example could be misunderstandings, love, or unorganized, which is an interesting one. around love, but it might be that there's not sort of like dedicated or set times and things. So in the positive version, I've put loving, supportive, and worthy. And I think a good practice around working on like self-concept stuff is really building up like your self-worth. With the organized side of things, it's also building up like self-love practices. So this could be, thank you, Jody. I really appreciate that. So Jody said, tapping into the show on healing abundance wounds was very powerful. If you guys missed it, go back, because I actually did some EFT tapping where we actually diffuse some of the stress around these wounds. You might hear Lyra running around in the background being a kitten. But yeah, so any kind of self-worth practice, whether this is, dedicating weekly to not missing like your yoga, or to not missing, meditation, or to perhaps like dedicating to like more, healthy eating. And sometimes that might mean a treat too. It could mean some chocolate or some ice cream, or, little things when you really kind of need that like bit extra. We don't have to think about things in terms of bad or good, but it's like, what does my soul need right now? And sometimes we do just need chocolate right now. So one of my things too that I've put as I've just written down 10 key points. So thank you, Rainbow Sun. So the first one I've written down was about really looking into like law of attraction. So I've written down self-love operates on the principle that we project externally what is often an internal reflection. So this is really about like cultivating deeper practices of self-love will actually manifest and put, almost like if we're looking at it from a quantum level. And good point, don't deprive yourself, definitely. So if we're looking at it from this way too, it's looking at like if you're this little sun, or you have this little sun, let's use a crystal as a little display. So say this is like your voice, and this is like what your beliefs are around who you are in the world. Now, this could be who you are with family, who you are in school, who you are like in work, or who you are like with partner. So you want to make sure we've got good, strong, solid concepts of who it is that we are. So it might be, and the kids movie Inside Out #2 actually displays this inside the brain with all these little characters that play like joy or anger or sadness, anxiety, and confidence and things like that. But they actually display really well how the teenage girl in it will have like her belief system saying like, I'm a good person. And you can see her sort of like grow in terms of who she feels her self-worth and things are in the world. But say like we have sort of like this smaller belief system, and we might, sometimes play like the good tape or the good like message, and then other times we might have negative core beliefs, or like lower self-worth kind of overshadowing. Sometimes those negative beliefs will drown out that little voice that's trying to sing out. But if we're doing a lot of deeper self-work, we're releasing some of these blockages or some of these old patterns or core beliefs and things like that. What we're doing is allowing that heart or that crystal to shine. And so what ends up happening is we have more of a magnetic field that's able to go out there in that quantum and pull in and attract other matches. So if we've got negative belief systems saying, I'm not worthy of love, or no one loves me, no one gives me a chance in love, or, people are not attracted to me, or I always miss out, I'm never chosen. If we're radiating things like that out into the field, we're actually going to be showing more examples of that. So you're going to get validating proof of that coming from the universe. So if we're thinking about like the little voice that we might have right now, or the little positive programs, if we imagine like that growing and becoming like a bigger crystal and magnetizing out into the world, think about like, that becoming like a field around you, and that magnetic heart field generating. What happens is if you're vibrating this out into the world, and remembering that our aura extends about 6 feet and that heart field extends 6 feet, part of the reason you guys know with lockdowns and things, why we were kept apart. But anyway, so if you're generating and putting that out into the world, you're also going to be getting other people's little heart fields coming. and you're going to be starting to quantumly vibrate on that same frequency. So this is why it's really important to have positive belief systems, because we want to quantumly entangle ourselves with other people that are matched on that similar or same level. So, we don't want to attract from our fears or from like low self-worth or from lack. We really want to build ourselves up as high as we can. And I'm just reading some of your comments. Thank you. Much love to you too. And thank you I think it might be a little bit late over where you are or early in the morning. We appreciate you being here with us as part of our soul family. And Amy Rose has said, knowing and healing yourself deeply at a soul level over soul level helped me massively in self-generating love and generating this light outwards. And it's so true. And you know what? It's one of the most attractive things as well. So when we radiate this beautiful self-worth, self-love, and this confidence, it becomes magnetic. It becomes the light in the room that you can't ignore. And it's that one thing that you can't quite put your finger on, but you know that there's something different about someone when they do this sort of work. And it's not really more kind of like an ego thing. You're not really building up that external, overdeveloped ego. It's more kind of generating these feelings from within a heart space as well. So the next thing that I've put too is building a strong foundation. So self-love establishes a strong foundation. So this is really about like having deep care for yourself. So it might be that you're doing like a weekly bath and you're just sitting there like working on generating this field. And that's definitely what I was doing with the Heal a Broken Heart tea when I was going through heartbreak and things all those years ago, was really like just bringing back and focusing on all of the pieces, connecting with higher self, making like a ritual to do that. And you know what? It's actually okay if sometimes you need to do that in more than just once a day. Say if you're going through a really hard time and you need to create a safe space or some extra magic and love, it's okay to do like more than once a day, with baths and self-love rituals and things like that. So this is also about establishing healthy boundaries. And yeah, can you guys hear Lyra? She's currently chasing around a blue fish toy. This is where it's good to have my second camera hooked up so I can swivel around to you guys. And I can see Rainbow Sun saying it spreads so quickly to everyone wherever you are. This is so true. It becomes contagious. And this also attracts other people wanting to hang out with you because you have this positivity, this literal ray of sunshine that is emitting out of you. So definitely with this, you want to protect it. So you want to make sure that you're not as easily accessible to, say, for example, people that might be on a different vibration. So let me just find something else. So say, for example, this little titanium coated quartz, still a crystal, different frequencies, different wavelengths, different rates that they're vibrating at. So say, for example, you've got this other little person or being come along, and they might be operating out of wounds. They might be seeking validation. They might be looking for external forms of validation as well. And so sometimes what can happen in these kinds of situations is this person might project onto the other person. Now, if you have strong self-worth and strong values, you'll possibly recognize that this is perhaps like someone else's wound or projection. So when we have deep levels of commitment and self-love, we realize when something is an external projection. And I think that's also, part of that boundary setting. And when you see stuff come up or you hear statements or things in friendships, family situations, or relationships, it's really good to know yourself too, because then you understand if something is coming from someone else's wounds. So this is also why it's really important with self-concept work and law of assumption work to heal our own wounds too, so that we know that we're healthy, whole, and complete within ourselves. We're not looking for someone else to kind of like fill up our cup, as we read the quote at the start. So the other thing with this too is, what is meant for you will never pass you by, is one big saying. So with this too, it's not operating out of fear in that, oh, maybe I won't attract, maybe there won't be any other crystals. It really is about like finding your match or finding your frequency, And you also want to be around other people that are doing similar work. You don't really want to be around people that aren't adding value or aren't, bringing their cup, that are looking to drain or to have everything poured into them. So that's really important if we have that strong self-worth and that strong self-love concept as well. We're not really going to attract these other older frequencies. And yes, it's definitely a pink amethyst. So with this as well, it's interesting how the universe will sometimes, when you're on this path or on this journey, bring you people that are perhaps like your old wounds, or perhaps like what you've had pattern wise in the past with relationships and things too. And it's just to, one, show you how far you've grown and moved away from that. But it's also sometimes the universe will test you. And we can think about this in, it wanting to bring you the same. So it's like it maybe sees like an unhealed or like a smaller pattern. And it could be just, saying, are you sure that you don't want this? Like you're really comfortable with this. You already know this pattern. You already know this computer program and how this kind of works. Are you sure you don't want this? So in like short term, to be uncomfortable and to say no to different things like this, or to recognize patterns or perhaps like actors that have, or a mask with, you guys know what I'm saying. But it's like to have, the same person, but with a different mask is essentially what I'm saying too. So with this, putting yourself first, you're actually going to attract higher as well. The other thing too that you want to look into with really like self-love and why it's important is you want to make sure that like you are able to fill your own cup first. And what I mean by this is you're not looking for someone to entertain you, to validate you, to if you are perhaps like a people pleaser, or if you've done people pleasing in the past as well. Sometimes with that, there can be childhood wounds, which is around like if you're needed, or if you really will sort of, how would I explain? If you're really kind of used to pouring things into everyone else, then sometimes you might have a self-concept around like, if I'm needed, I'm loved and I'm valued. So this is really important as well, to have a look into different patterns. And there is a really great book on this for when it's in sort of like more of the negative, full-blown extent. I can picture the front of it. I think it's around an attractor. I'm just picturing it. It's got like a magnet on the front. Anyway, we'll come back to it if I remember what it's called. But it essentially talks about how sometimes someone who is more of an empath will attract someone who is more of like an energetic vampire. It talks about, negative attachment styles, or, one being sort of like more of a needing, manifesting or attracting style, and the other one being like avoidant. The term I think is called attachment and avoidment as well, avoidant. So moving on to the next one, number 3 that I've written is enhancing self-worth. So with this, what is it that really makes you feel more attractive, more magnetic? And this is also going to mean that you likely attract, a partner on this self-worth journey as well. So for me, enhancing self-worth, it is taking time out to, to do the little rituals and things like that. I know in the past when I've really been more working on this, and we tend to work on this like when we're single, but this would also be to make sure that you're still topping this up when we're in relationships and that too, because you want to keep fulfilling that cup, like the quote. And I can see Amy Rose wrote, sometimes if you're carrying around unhealed negative consciousnesses, you can attract the same energy externally so that you can see it and heal it. That is so true. And, I'm not afraid to put my hand up and say, like, I've definitely had some more kind of like gaslighting, narcissistic, partners that I've attracted through perhaps like, having more that naive sort of sense of everyone has like good intentions, or perhaps, being more of like an empath and understanding that people have got wounds from childhood and things. So it's also with what you've said, Amy, and with personal experience. And I know a lot of my clients have been through the same thing. And that's why I talk about it openly. It's also not our job to fix others. So that's also really important with this work and with attracting greater self-love. We need to love ourselves more first than the other person. And, for the other person to understand that and to not sort of go into, victim mentality and things, they would be of more of a higher caliber as well. So with this, I'll just see if there's anything else I've written down around enhancing self-worth. I like the mirror work with this as well. So, looking in the mirror, we were talking about this, I think it was on the Abundance show too, just, making sure that you're saying those affirmations. So it might be, I'm a good person with a kind heart. I have amazing friends, or I have incredible family, or, just saying things that you need to hear at a deeper core. So it might be, I love myself unconditionally. The other thing too that we want to look to with anything that comes up, we want it to feel authentic and we want it to be believable. If you do have things that pop up belief system wise, especially when it comes to looks, because, growing up in a lot of the areas that we did, things were not always the same in terms of like consciousness. So for example, growing up in the 80s, people weren't always conscious of imprinting or blueprinting onto little ones, whereas we're more kind of conscious now that there's mapping and mirroring and things like this that are going on in these early brains being formed. So say, for example, like say if you had a mother who was perhaps like, always worried about weight. And I heard someone say just recently, did they remember watching their mother get dressed? And she always looked so glamorous and beautiful and had, amazing dresses and just looked gorgeous. And the child was saying to the mum, you look amazing. You look so beautiful. And the mum's remark or comment was, thank you. Was, oh no, I'm so fat, or things like this, or no, like my teeth look terrible or something. And what that does, it invalidates what the child is expressing, but it also, the children will then be like, well, if this amazing person that I'm holding on a pedestal thinks that about themselves, and then sometimes they'll get told that they look like the parent, it's almost like you're installing that parent's belief system into the child. So this is where we do have to go down to the core and look at like our belief system. Did they even come from us? So this is a very important part for enhancing that self-worth, is if you notice if things come up, yeah. So I'm just checking what you guys are saying. So yes, the believing side is something I'm still working on. And you know what? We're always in a work in progress if we're down here in the earth realm. This is what we've come here to do. And John is saying, when we project true unconditional love for yourself is very different than a narcissist love of yourself. That is so true. Very, very different. And Rainbow Sun saying, being love and light can bring out the shadow in others. No, it is not you individually. Yes. And that's so interesting, because if a darker or negative narcissist type, and sometimes there'll be entity attachments on these beings. So sometimes you'll see the eyes change, and sometimes it can even be demonic possession in, incredibly dark situations as well. So with this, it's really important to realize if someone's also sort of seeing you as like an energy food source, but they're not giving back. Oh, I missed it. I'll have to go back, and it's around the 33 or 32 mark, I think. Thank you. So the next one I've popped in is number 5, which is, this is really about like looking if we have any kind of like feeling of neediness. And, with neediness, when we see it overtly in other people, it's not really an attractive quality when someone is sort of like that needy, like lack vibration, because what they're sort of doing, if we're talking about the crystal again and the heart, it's like they're constantly needing that validation, that cup being tipped, filled up and things, but they're not really bringing anything. So yeah, with that neediness, it acts more like a repellent in love. So that's where you really want to be topping up. And I'll just see if I've written anything like this. So the other thing I wanted to mention is that it attracts like. So like attracts like when we're talking law of attraction and things like that. You saw a third one. And you guys have got some great comments. This is such a beautiful space that we have with our soul family. So yeah, with like attracting like as well, not only is it in, the unhealed childhood wounds or past relationship stuff. So we also see, with relationship stuff, and I think, you know, probably like the cheating thing would be like a really great example of like an unhealed thing. So you might have a person, and I've seen this in high school, and I consciously made a decision to not be in sort of like that high school kind of college mindset of what I was seeing my friends do. So they were in constant fear of like needing to find out, if they were looking, if partners were looking at someone else, or like checking phones, or like having to try and be like a private investigator. And I think if you've got high self-worth and you're really focused on kind of like love internally, you're not really going to be thinking about like what the other person's doing and trying to control the situation as well. So again, bring it back to self. And, we want a relationship or love that has high values of trust and things too. So if you're acting to go like check through phones and things like that, you're actually telling the universe and putting that frequency out there that might be happening. So you want to look at, where is that fear coming from? It's usually you need to feel safe, feel certainty, which Tony Robbins talked about like in a big way. So how can you reassure that part of yourself that might be feeling like that? For me, it was just a clear decision in, I don't want to be that character or that sort of person like my friends that was in fear. I actually wanted to feel free, and I wanted to focus on like, happier things. And I didn't want that as part of my field. So, if you're lucky, you can make a choice or a decision around that. But if it has been something that's a past pattern too, you want to really look at how you can regulate your nervous system. And this is a huge part of creating self-love ritual and increasing like your self-worth and self-soothing, because a lot of us will look to an external for validation, to fill our cup, for love. So nervous system practices, and you might have seen the example with NLP and master hypnotherapist practitioner Russell Price that I interviewed on my channel. It was maybe last month, I think, where we were doing like a lot of this regulating the nervous system practice as well. Oh, I love that, Jody. You've inspired me to get a self-love poem book and write one poem a day. I love that. And what a beautiful way to literally whip up and create some magic around you as well. And yeah, rainbow sun, definitely. So with that situation we were talking about, like with the cheating side of things, you've got to recognize, is it intuition, which will feel very, very different to fear as well. So, that's what you've got to determine or distinguish between the voice in your head or the intuitional feeling as well. So letting go of neediness, so not looking for external validation and things. You want to really be putting your self-worth and things up high. And let me see, the next one I've written is authenticity and vulnerability. So this is really about like allowing yourself to be authentic and vulnerable in relationships. And it's interesting because I know in my life, when I've been in those extreme situations of vulnerability, I can actually feel it on like a higher self level. It's really weird because I felt it like where everything felt frozen in the moment around. And when I've been just like this divinely vulnerable situation, I actually felt like this is why my soul was here to learn. And it was like ticking off a huge thing on my list. So there can actually be magic and vulnerability. And you guys have known on a few other shows, I've talked about the power of authenticity being even greater frequency wise when they've measured it in hertz. Even greater than love. So, to have this authenticity and this vulnerability as well. So with this often will open up and create a deeper connection in relationships, because sometimes we can have like this unhealed part of where we're running the program, or we're trying to, pick apart and be a detective, or looking for, reassurance or kind of like validation. But if we're like, you know what, like, when you did this or when you said that, it actually brought this up, or I felt like this. And then you could put it into reframe and say, this is actually how I want to feel in a relationship. So sometimes this authenticity and vulnerability is about having deeper conversations. And Amy Rose is saying vulnerability reveals truth around you. Yeah. And I know with some relationships and situations, people can more be on a path of like needing certainty, needing security, and being fearful of walking on eggshells or not wanting to talk about things because it could trigger it, and then we might not be loved and things. So yeah, authenticity and vulnerability with the right partner should actually grow and expand your relationships. And with this, it can be a friendship. So you can practice it with a beautiful friend. Yeah, it's such a lovely one. But yeah, it will also, like, if you're being authentic and genuine within yourself, this will also create attracting other people in that are genuine. And what is magical about this is where the deeper conversations also will come in. So yeah, it's incredibly strong to do that practice. I've put number 7, which is about like radiating this heart energy. So it's, what are you kind of radiating? Like positivity, joy, and yeah, you're right, Rainbow Sun, communication as well. So it does bring deeper levels of communication when you have this. So with this radiating positivity, joy, this also comes from like your heart, but it also comes from your mindset. So this is like super contagious. And you can actually do, and you guys know I've talked about this before, the practice of kind of holding like that mini sun or that radiant energy within you. There's one in law of attraction, law of assumption work, where when you walk in a room, you'll actually focus on each corner of the room and you'll visualize those corners like hitting your heart. So say like if you're looking to date or looking to attract friends, whatever it is that you're wanting to work with, you can visualize like that sun kind of coming from your core or your heart and like hitting all these corners of the room, and this magnetic light coming out of you as well. So definitely it's all about like a higher vibration. What I see with this, with working with clients one-on-one with aura drawings, and with like the mystic oracle sessions, and even I see in the starseed readings too, but you can actually see when someone has done that self-work and that intention. You can literally see it within their auric field. It's contagious. Sometimes there will be a double layer of gold, or gold and pink, which is more that kind of unconditional love. I love that, super duper love. Yeah, that's really cool. So with this as well, you tend to draw people or partners in. When you have this, people will come up to you or find an excuse to talk to you or smile at you. As I've said, many sessions and readings that I've done, when I see this kind of light around someone, animals and babies are super attracted as well to someone who has an aura like this. So number 8, setting intentions and affirmations. So with this, it really involves like looking at like what your intentions are for yourself. So say, for example, it might be taking greater care of health. It might be making sure that you do big batch cooking and you're making sure that you're eating healthy for the week. Or it might look like, doing that meditation, or, doing a nice bath ritual. I forgot to say as well, I don't think I've said this on any of the other shows, but with the potions, you can actually sprinkle some of this into your bath. So you can create a deeper self-care vibrational ritual where you're literally bathing in this magic potion. So I do love that. And I usually love to be drinking it in as well as bathing in it as part of my ritual and practice. So yeah, setting intentions and affirmations. So this will further enforce or reinforce like your value, your self-worth as well. Thank you. Thanks, Britt Marie. So with this as well, so what happens is this mindset shifts to help manifest a partner who recognizes and values your unique qualities when we're setting this. So when we're not running on the old programs, the old fears and things, we're definitely going to attract from a much higher level. So you're going to get a much more high value partner, and one that you actually need to pour less into if you're topping yourself up first. Oh, cool. So I just saw Emma saying, I quite often get little kids watching me in the store. Yeah, they sense the magic. And because I've been one of those kids that's seen auras, ever since I was young, there's certain people that just radiate so much energy that you literally can't take your eyes off them. So they're also, oracally, they have this sense of safety. And sometimes for kids that see this, it's this sense of still having the magic from where we came from, from source. So they might be seeing that around you as well. And yeah, definitely I love to bathe in love potion. This is actually one of my self-care rituals that I love to do. And with love potion, I am magnetic. My heart is open to receiving love. I find that this one really increases the magnetism. This one has rosehip, cinnamon, cardamom, and lavender. So all of these are designed with planetary alchemy in mind as well. So yeah, sprinkle a bit. And I know a couple of you have ordered them. So I can't wait to hear, or tag me in your ritual. Like if you're on Instagram or Facebook, tag Soul Alchemy Potions with your ritual, because I can't wait to see some of the magic that you guys have created. So with the affirmations and that, we also have, and I've written up my little one. You can see there's blue tack on the back because I have these on the wall. So with self-love, I am valued and worthy of love and respect. I bring love and value into the world. I am worthy of greatness and massive success. I deserve the very best that life has to offer. I am opening to new possibilities of success. My work is highly valued and appreciated. So, which I'm lucky that is, but I like to reaffirm, all of these self-worth statements. Oh my gosh, my person. I'm so excited. I can't wait to hear which is your favorite. Yeah, I feel like I'm sending my babies out into the world and they're going to live with new parents. It's just, yeah, it just makes me so filled with joy and gratitude for just having magic around the world. So the way that I find or feel like the affirmations is to look at what's the gap that needs healing between this. So yeah, if you felt that you are perhaps undervalued or different things like that, it's more looking at the value that you bring to the world, or that other people can outwardly see that. So that's a really great one to have a look into, because a lot of empaths will have that one, or they'll feel the need to sort of overgive in order to feel that self-worth, or to feel like they're really giving value. So yeah, write down your affirmations that heal that wound, heal that gap. Number 9, I've written healing past wounds. So this for me, I think because we're so, onto it with this. Oh yeah, please freeze the video later and go back and you can copy my affirmations, whatever works for you guys. And this is why I like to give examples, because I'm pretty much an open book when it comes to things like that too, that, if it's helped me, I want to share it. And that was essentially why Soul Alchemy Potions was born. So yeah. Oh, this is so cute how we're such a beautiful community. Yeah, so Alessio Emma said to Rainbow Sun, yay, please report back for those who are yet to get them. So yeah, it'd be exciting. Oh, pop in the comments below which ones did you get. That'd be so lovely to see and to follow your journey with that. So yeah, number 9, healing past wounds. I have put this lesser down because I feel like we're so conscious of our wounds and really trying to look to our core when we've been working as part of spiritual development. Yeah, so with this, it also really looks at and in kinesiology as well, which I tap into more on the holistic wellness sessions. But sometimes the programs and things we're running are not even ours. They might not even be our parents. They can actually stem 5 generations back. And this is embedded. We see this with Bruce Lipton's work into the biology of belief, even before we are formed in utero. So if we look 3 months before conception, the sperm and the egg, whatever the parents are feeling or going through is imprinted genetically and emotionally at a cellular level into the DNA as well. Oh my gosh. Okay, perfect. All right. So you're going to be whipping up some magic. I feel like practical magic. You know, the margarita scene. I feel like your kitchen's going to be filled with magic. It's going to be fun to hear how you go. So yeah, with this, really looking into, or could it be that, you know, it's early childhood stuff that may have been said from parents, caregivers, or others around you? Is it maybe perhaps from relationship stuff, really looking at like where your wounds stem from? The other thing too, I do love compassion key, and my beautiful friend Bonnie Hutt is a compassion key practitioner, and you know she talks about like hands on your heart, hands on your belly, and actually seeing that age or that version of you that was going through whatever it was. So, say for example, it might be as a child not feeling seen or heard. So, me too. It is a favorite. And number two, I can't wait. It's going to be made. So with this, it's looking at like that, say, for example, 7-year-old version of self, and they might not be feeling seen or heard. So, you know, closing your eyes, standing, and there's a certain practice of a figure eight. You stand like you're on one part of the figure eight, that inner child part is on another part, and you say, I'm so sorry that you feel not heard and not seen. And what happens is that little part of you actually feels seen and heard, and you validating that. Or it might be, I'm so sorry that you know you were overlooked and maybe you didn't get chosen for, you know, a team or something like that. Whatever the wound is for you, literally just kind of, you know, putting it out there. Yeah, that was the song I was singing in my head when I was describing it. Um, and it's so funny because it's in the same way that it's sung in the song. It's funny how we can hear those little inner voices. So with this, really doing, you know, a practice like that, doing emotion code work, or if you guys really need, reach out to me and book a session. So you can either do that on solvita.com. It'll take you straight onto Maison Jupiter's website. The next one that I've put, number 10, is becoming a magnet for love. So if we're looking in terms of potions, you know, you really want to sort of start out if you've got healing to do to heal a broken heart. And it's not necessarily just for like healing a broken heart. I forgot to show you guys, look at this. So I've got my little potion jar because sometimes I love to, you know, put it in, like open the back, but I find this, you know, I feel more like a mystical witch sometimes putting it in a potion jar that has like the, you know, the glass stopper bottles. But I wish you guys could smell this. I wish we had smell-o-vision, but you can see the jasmine flowers in here. You can see the cacao nibs, the rose, the lavender. And it just, it smells like perfume opening it up too. So with the magnetic side of it though, you more want to be using this. If you're trying to generate a field or generate this energy coming out, you literally want to be doing like magnetic practice work. So this would involve like affirmations and things like I'm magnetic, I'm charismatic, you know, I draw amazing people, situations and things to me. Life is always working out for me. Yeah, smell-o-vision would be good sometimes. So with this becoming magnetic, it's really the self-love work that transforms you into this place of where you are topped up from within. And you know, if we're thinking about it in terms of energy and frequency, you know, it's a measurable thing when we hold this frequency as well. So you could even say things like, I'm a magnet for love. The other thing that I've done in the past too is, and this was even like with a gorgeous friendship that I have. I know you guys have probably heard me say this on other shows for those that have been following for a while, but it's also kind of releasing to the universe and stepping back is really a vital, important thing when it comes to this magnetic side, because we also don't want to be putting out there and being like, why hasn't it shown up yet? So you also want to put it out and release. So it's like putting that little letter, posting it to God or to source or the universe, and then we're waiting for like word to come back. So we're not checking the post box to see if it's been sent yet, or to see if like we're not running to the letterbox every 5 minutes. It's, you'll get the notification like on your phone that it's arrived. So with this, I remember getting a download coming back from Costco, and I had all this frozen fruit for a smoothie detox that I was doing. And I heard Spirit say, stop what you're doing, go to Whole Foods and get a chai. And it was probably around coffee time, like in the afternoon. And I'm like, what? But I'm just going to go home. And then I heard again, spirit very clearly, stop what you're doing, go order a chai. And so I'm like, okay, this was so loud and so not my voice that I stopped what I was doing, drove to Whole Foods to get a chai. And it was interesting because I felt someone's gaze upon me and I could feel someone's energy, because you feel that quantum entanglement when you're sensitive. You feel someone vibrating on that same sort of wavelength or frequency. Anyway, so this other beautiful soul at the same time as me, or maybe just before I got there, ordered a chai. And it was, I think it was like a soy chai or something like that, or oat milk or something. Anyway, so I ordered my almond chai. Walking around the store, you get given a buzzer. So the buzzers go off. And I see this person sort of like walking behind me. I'm like, oh, that's a bit strange, because I can feel their energy. And anyway, turns out they had ordered a chai as well. And then there was a confusion around, like, whose chai was who. And, years later, we are like really good friends. So it was such a beautiful thing. And it was just the universe showing me how this law of attraction works, but we need to release it. So to become magnetic, to put out your desire, your intention, but we have to release it. We can't be lassoing all the time. Mail from God. So, and I'm just reading some of your comments. So Amy Rose has also said, yes, transmuting and healing wounds, negative defense energy multidimensionally, including past life trauma, is brilliant to do. Energy healing meditation and using emotion code help me. Same. And definitely with the past life stuff. And you will even see that in astrology sometimes. But yeah, it was an amazing experience, and one that like we laugh about all the time. So with this as well, and becoming magnetic, so you can practice with that sun technique that we were talking about, radiating and sending it out that way. This is also like making your list. So you guys know that I've talked about in the other shows that we talk about making your soulmate list as well, like really putting your request into the universe. And with this magnetic energy too, it's also making sure that like we're aligning to someone that's on that same journey or path. So you can still be different, but it's like, are your core values aligned? That's really, really important for like growth and for fulfillment and things like that. So that's what I had as part of my main notes. I've got one more little thing that I've just written, like a couple of other little notes. So definitely, if you want to look more into that, we're going to be doing more shows. I'm about to like put in some more into YouTube. So you'll probably see like over the next week, a few more shows coming up. They are based around the 6 potions. So you're not going to miss out. We're going to be talking about cleansing. We're going to be doing more work around abundance. I think one of the next ones coming up is around being magnetic. And I think it will be based more around the I Am That Witch potion, which is one of my favorites. What else? So I've written here, you guys can definitely check out Neville Goddard's work, which I think he was more around the 40s. You can actually get on Audible. I think it's all of his books put together in one. It was like 12 hours of listening or reprogramming the subconscious mind, as I like to soak it in that way. So yeah, look into his work, Neville Goddard, on self-concept, law of assumption. Have a look into like what your current belief systems and assumptions are as well. Oh, hey, Deb. I hope that your niece went well with her surgery. Definitely sending healing and prayers. And I know a lot of our community has as well. So yeah, also I've put in here, look outside of your love is only reaffirming, or when we're looking outside, for love, this is only reaffirming like that there's something missing from within. So definitely fill up from within first. Also, gratitude for self-practice. We said this like right at the start. So you definitely want to be like hitting your gratitude work, your mirror work, regulating your nervous system, calming and reassuring self. Because sometimes, in a relationship setting, you'll see where someone needs to have like reassurance in order to like calm and bring their nervous system down, or they'll need to find things out to feel safe and to feel okay. So you need to learn how to do that within yourself. And it's literal magic, like when you can do this, and then you put out the influence of what it is that you want to see instead. So you might be in fear and lack, in old patterns and things. Regulate your nervous system and then say, I would like to see this instead, and just watch what happens. It is, Really, really interesting. I'm just reading your comment, Deb. Yeah, that is a lot for her to take on. So we've got the nervous system work, practice self-love, whether it's in the form of yoga, meditation, taking yourself out on dates, which I've been known to do in the past as well. And yeah, our gorgeous community is sending love and healing prayers. So walking in nature, etc. Literally put date yourself written down here as a form of like self-love and practice. This also is sometimes going to the cinemas or movies. So I've also done this, and I have other friends that have done it as well. So you want to do something, don't wait for someone else. Or if you want to jump on a plane and go somewhere, don't wait for someone else. And Emerald actually said this really well on our show that we did the other day around attracting love too, is I remember she actually was wanting to I think it was wait for a partner and then like go to Italy, and she ended up jumping on a plane and having the most amazing experiences in Italy and having like kind of an eat pray love type moment too. So it's not to wait for a partner to do the things that you want to do. I've also written a little note around the quote that we read right at the start, which I'm just going to bring this back up for those that might have missed it. So love one another, but make not a bond of love. Let it rather be a moving sea between shores of your souls. Fill each other's cup, but drink not from the one cup. So the other thing that I've written, the last one on my list, aura, and to work on your aura. So if we think about in terms of energy, cleansing, building, beautiful like thought forms and things like that, energy work. I love pranic healing. I actually even prefer that over Reiki in terms of like how I felt after as well. And good to see there's other people that have dated themselves too. And very, very good news to hear, Debs. So let me just bring up. Yeah, it's so lovely to see all this love and support. So I'm just going to bring up. So we have here, I'm just going to jump back to this. So yeah, definitely looking at, I am grateful for my strong and resilient heart and spirit is the one on Heal a Broken Heart. And I'm magnetic, my heart is open to receiving love is the one on Love Potion. And yeah, if you scroll over, it will just bring you up a picture of what the raw tea actually looks like. You guys will see a review from Carrie Ann and her experience. It's definitely better to, if you do 4 or more, you save like a lot more with that. So that definitely tends to be the way to go. And yeah, you can also subscribe to make sure that you stay up to date with this. So I just want to say a huge thank you for you guys joining me today. And also, remember, there's only a couple days left for the competition. You will see me again on Saturday if you're in the States, or Canada, which is my Sunday here in Australia. So we're going to be doing a mystical soul reading, and the competition winner will be drawn on the 21st. So this will be it'll be my 22nd, but your 21st, because it's the Capricorn full moon. So this is going to be really exciting to share who's won all 6 blends, but make sure to get yours today and tag us in your ritual. I want to see the magic, just as we were describing with practical magic in the kitchen and things. All right. I love you guys. Have a beautiful night.